what period I appointed Musa Abachili and which of the witnesses appeared before the commission at that time. So I cannot speak to that, but I was not, to be honest, I was not keenly following the commission's activities. And it was not just the Janneh Commission, even the TRRC.
I'm just trying to bring this to your attention so that we can establish the issues of conflict of interest.
Yes.
You had an exchange with council on the issue of social security. There were many other issues that we have established as well. So I just try to bring this to your attention so that maybe to also get your reaction from that.
Okay.
If you are not certain that Graham appeared before the lead council, we will leave it to that. But we, from our part, yes, we have seen that.
Okay.
Although this is not a material evidence before us, but these were video recordings that everybody have seen as well. So that is why when you had an exchange with council on the issue of conflict of interest, and you maintain your position that the lead council rescued herself,
yes,
I said, let me bring this to your attention.
Okay.
Maybe that would have helped as well to see, okay, if that had happened, then definitely the council must have stepped beyond the boundaries there.
Honorable, I'm sure you know lawyers are always very careful to not to provide responses immediately on the spot, at the especially if information is coming to them for the first time. I would be a typical lawyer in this case, and to say that because I don't know all the facts, I don't know the line of questioning that lead counsel was I'm taking with Mr. Graham. I don't know what the issues are. It will be difficult for me to make an informed opinion.
It might not even be like the hearing, but statement taking, because these people go through statement taking before they appear.
That's right. Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But because I don't know what the contents of Graham's statement would have been, what the questions would have been, and the answers, it's difficult for me to say now as to whether there could have been a conflict. In fact, that reminds me, I also saw a part of the evidence given by Louis Prom, Mr. Prom Jr., that lead counsel was conflicted in the case of Social Security vis-a-vis the receiver. I'm not sure whether you want me to also address that, because when as you were raising the issue of Social Security now, my mind also went back to that. I'm not sure whether that would be of interest to the commission or not. Sorry, to the committee or not.
Well, Louis Prom, I think, submitted material evidence with regards to, because he submitted written evidences of what had happened during his tenure of receivership. But we wouldn't mind to hear from you, at least briefly, on that issue, so before we can proceed.
Well, I'm not. I have no.
No, I understand your point. I understand.
Yes,
you just wanted to react.
I have no reason to doubt Louis Prom's evidence.
Okay.
Except the one where he says he handed over the Euro scanning machine to me. I don't know whether he said the AG's office or the AG in person. I don't know, but certainly it wasn't handed over to me.
That is something coming. We will deal with that.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
The evidence is there.
Okay, but I think again it comes down to the issue of conflict, our understanding of conflict. I think Mr. Prom was mistaken in believing that Counsel Ami Bensouda was conflicted, because in that case Counsel Ami Bensouda was pursuing the legitimate interest of her clients, which was Social Security, interests which were aligned with Social Security's own interest, because I can tell you as a matter of fact that the managing director of Social Security at that time, Mr. Muhammadu Manjang, came to see me because they wanted to take back their hotels, because the hotels belong to Social Security. And Cabinet also requested me to reach out to Augustus Prom and request for him to hand over the hotels back to Social Security, because it was the property of Social Security. And so the interest of the government, the interest of Social Security, the interest of the Minister of Justice, and the interest of Counsel Ami Bensouda were all aligned. And so I thought I should clarify that as far as I'm concerned, there was no conflict, because we all wanted Social Security, which is a public enterprise. It's taxpayers' money. to take back the hotels which were given away by the former president under very questionable circumstances. So I just wanted to clarify that. And when I met with Mr. Prom, I also saw Louis' testimony that the meeting was not very friendly. I don't know. I don't recall that. I mean, I believe I have a very friendly attitude to everybody, and so I couldn't understand why he thought the meeting was not held in a friendly environment. But the Solicitor General was there, and I only conveyed the government's request. And when they pushed back, I saw Mr. Prom describing the act as illegal, and council allowed him to maintain the word illegal without pushing back on that. But we were not making an illegal request. It was not illegal by any standards. Mr. Prom is not a lawyer, so he would use legal, I guess, in illegal in a loose sense. But what we were asking him to do was not illegal. It was perfectly legal, and if there were going to be consequences in the form of a lawsuit against Augustus Prom, the state was willing to provide a defense to them. They were already in court anyway with the owners of, sorry, with those who were running the two hotels. I believe it was BPI and another company. They were already in the in court as a result of their role as receivers. So we were not asking them to do anything illegal. We were asking them to terminate, or rather to hand over the hotels, and if the if those who were running it believed that that was a breach of contract, let them go to court. We were willing to defend the government's position, but they didn't, and we didn't force them, and we didn't put pressure on them. We allowed them to exercise their or his independence as receiver.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, it was good that you've watched Louis Prom's testimony, and I'm sure he's also watching your testimony at the moment. But yes, the rest of it will be for the committee to decide.
Okay.
Of course, based on the further evidences we will receive from other witnesses. I am tempted to ask this question. I know council did not talk. Maybe it will come further in your testimony tomorrow. I also wanted to ask, because I think it's an interest for the committee and the public as well to know. Who owns the two aeroplanes that are so at the airport? Sorry, do you know anything about that?
I can't recall now what the commission's findings were in respect of the two aeroplanes that were parked at the terminal at the Banjul International Airport, but there was another third plane which was still away, out of the country, or maybe there were two out of the country. I can't remember now. But the aeroplanes, I think cabinet decided to entrust responsibility for the aeroplanes in the Ministry of Finance and the ministry responsible for aviation. I don't know which ministry that is. I can't recall now. What's the ministry responsible for aviation? Transport. Ministry of Transport and Finance, so that they can engage with civil aviation in the valuation of the aircraft, etc. That was what cabinet resolved, because again, the line wasn't clear whether the aircrafts belong to former President Janneh or they belong to the Gambian state. And since they were parked at the airport and one of them had the Republic of the Gambia written on it, the assumption is that it belongs to the state. But I'm sure the commission, I remember the commission visiting the aeroplanes and even went inside one of them. But I don't now recall at the top of my head what was their conclusion regarding the aeroplanes. So I don't know who owned the aeroplanes, but I know that the government decided to act on the aeroplanes.
When before the commission, because I know government must have to, because like you said, the issue of inventory of assets belonging to the former president was taken, and I think the freezing order comes from the court, but Minister of Justice placed that order at the court.
Yes.
So when that order came, the inventory that was taken was the aeroplane not part of that, from the people who they are working in the ministry, because these are the people who took inventory of all the assets
Yes.
that
Yes.
were, under the custody of Janneh Commission to probe in.
Yes. We did not include the vehicles or the aeroplanes in the freezing order, because, like I said, our advice was that if they were found on state property, the assumption is that they belong to the state until evidence is brought to the contrary. It was the other properties where we could clearly see the names of the former president, his close associates, and the landed properties, etc., that we froze because they were identifiable names. But for the vehicles and the airplanes, since we couldn't determine title at that point, we had the assumption that if they were found on state property, they belong to the state.
That's okay, because we visited the aeroplanes, and then we had a meeting with civil aviation.
There were 1 or 2 airplanes outside the country.
Yes,
as well.
we were told. We were told about the history of the aeroplanes and the one in Germany.
Okay.
But like I said, since I just wanted to get your reaction on that, maybe we will delve into that issue more, and then we will have material evidence in that effect as well. So the committee will be able to advise itself to prove further on that. Yes, that's fine. Honorables, you questions? Oh.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Tambadou, with the Chair's and Committee's permission, I will appreciate if we can have a cut of a video on Prom's testimony about the Euro scanning machine that he claimed to hand over to you, and I believe with some car keys. So it will be great to hear from the horse's mouth. As you alluded, it's never appropriate to listen to one side of a story. So, Chair, with your permission, please.
That's fine. Can we have that video played?
You advise them on the
on the specific.
Yes.
I mean.
Chair, can I suggest we take a 5-minute break or a 10-minute break for a tea break, perhaps?
Okay, that's fine. I think that's very convenient. We can take 10 minutes break. Mr. Tambadou, if you want tea, you can also have tea or coffee. And we will resume back 10 minutes.